I want to speak to you about the moment when all is lost. Not the moment when things are hard. Not the moment when life is inconvenient. The moment when everything you built, everything you believed in, everything you were holding on to is gone. Maybe that moment was yesterday. Maybe it is right now. And maybe you are wondering if God was even there when it happened. He was. He is. And here is what I know about the God of the Bible. He does his most impossible work in the place where human possibility has run out completely. When all is lost to you, you have just arrived at the address where God does his greatest miracles. Stay. He is already working. I have stood where the ground gave way beneath me, where the thing I built my life around collapsed, where the prayer I prayed the longest went unanswered, and the silence was the loudest thing I had. I have watched the door close on the last remaining option, seen the final thread of what I held get cut. And the feeling of that moment has no language. It is something you can only feel from inside of it. But I am standing here today as living proof that the place where all was lost was not the end. When all is lost, God is not lost. When everything is gone, He is still here. When all is lost and there is nothing left to hold to, He is the ground beneath the ground that disappeared. When all is lost, He is still working in the rubble, in the ruins, in the dark. When all is lost, that is not the final chapter. That is where He does His most impossible art. I have read about the disciples in the storm at night, convinced the waves would win and they would drown. I have read about the 3 days in the sealed and guarded tomb, when heaven seemed completely shut and closed. And what I know now that I did not always know is that the storm was not the end, the tomb was not the end, and the moment that looked like the absolute conclusion was the introduction to the thing that changed the world. The God who raised the dead does not call it over. When the situation has begun to look like death, when all is lost, God is not lost. When everything is gone, He is still here. When all is lost and there is nothing left to hold to, He is the ground beneath the ground that disappeared. When all is lost, He is still working in the rubble, in the ruins, in the dark. When all is lost, that is not the final chapter. That is where He does His most impossible art. The burning bush was in the wilderness. The parting of the sea came at the edge. The manna fell when all the food was gone. The resurrection came when hope was in the grave. He meets us at the ending of ourselves. He shows up when the showing up seems cruel. He does the thing that only God can do, exactly in the moment we have lost it all. When all is lost, He is still God. When all is lost, He is still good. When all is lost, He is still working. When all is lost, He is still enough. When all is lost, He is still here. When all is lost, He is still God. I am the proof. When all is lost, He is not. I had a plan, and the plan made sense on paper. I had the structure and the vision and the will. I had invested everything into what I was building, and I had reason to believe it was until the morning that it wasn't anymore. Until the phone call and the news and the collapse. Until the life I built was standing in the rubble, with nothing but the silence looking back. I don't know how to process what just happened. I don't know what to do with all these pieces. Everything I built just fell apart, and I am standing in the middle of the wreckage. Everything I built just fell apart, and I don't know if what is gone can be recovered. I poured my life into the building of this thing, and watched it come undone in what felt like a moment. Everything I built just fell apart, and I need you in the rubble. God, I need you now. I am not angry at the God I still believe in, even in the middle of the night, understanding why. Because I have read enough of those who built and lost and trusted to know this is not where the story ever dies. And David lost the kingdom before he wore the crown, and Joseph built in prison what he couldn't build at home. And every person in the scripture who lost everything they built something after that the world could not ignore. I do not understand this yet, but I am choosing to believe that God is in the falling too. Everything I built just fell apart, and I am standing in the middle of the wreckage. Everything I built just fell apart, and I don't know if what is gone can be recovered. I poured my life into the building of this thing, and watched it come undone in what felt like a moment. Everything I built just fell apart, but you were in the building and you're in the rubble too. Maybe what fell is not what you were building. Maybe what collapsed was never meant to stand. Maybe the dismantling was the preparation for the structure only you could understand. I released the version of the future I had pictured. I released the blueprint that I thought was signed by you. And I trust the architect who sometimes tears down first before he builds the thing he always had in view. Let it fall if it was not the thing you ordered. Let it fall so you can build what lasts. Let it fall into the hands that catch the fallen, and build again from something that will stand. Everything I built just fell apart, but something in the falling felt like mercy. Everything I built just fell apart, and you were in the rubble when I got there. You began to show me what you saw in all the pieces, what you've been planning while I've been building wrong. Everything I built just fell apart, and you are building something better from the ground. Let it fall into his hands. Let it fall. He builds better. Let it fall. He's in the rubble. Let it fall. He's already building. There is a kind of loss doesn't have a shortcut through it, that grief counselors and scriptures can acknowledge but not fix, that requires the long and honest walking through the valley, and the patience of a God who sits beside you in the dark. I lost someone the way you lose a piece of yourself, not just a presence but a version of who I was. Everything we shared became a tense I had to change, from present to a past that still feels present every day. And grief is not a problem to be solved, it is a love with nowhere left to go. I lost the person I loved most, and the world kept moving like it didn't happen. I lost the person I loved most. And some days getting up is every ounce of what I have. I am not asking for the feeling to go quickly, I am asking for the grace to feel it fully. I lost the person I loved most, and I need you here in everything the losing costs. There is a Jesus who wept at the grave of someone he loved, who did not bypass the grief to get to the miracle, who let the morning happen before the stone was rolled, who sat inside the human moment of the loss. And that tells me something about the God I bring this to, that he is not above the feeling of the grief that he has wept, and knows the weight of what weeping cost. And he does not ask me to be finished with it yet, he weeps with those who weep, the scripture says. And he is weeping now beside the one I love. I lost the person I love most, and the world kept moving like it didn't happen. I lost the person I loved most. And some days getting up is every ounce of what I have. I am not asking for the feeling to go quickly, I am asking for the grace to feel it fully. I lost the person I loved most, and I need you here in everything the losing cost. I will not rush this, I will not perform my way to the other side. I will not pretend that time alone is healing, or that the right words make the missing any lighter. What I will do is bring the grief exactly as it is to the God who is familiar with the grave, who stood outside of Lazarus and wept before he called him by his name. And I believe that even this is held inside a love too large to name. And I believe that even then is held completely safe and known. I will grieve and I will trust, both of these are true at once. I will ache and I will worship, both can live inside this chest. I lost the person I love most, and I am learning how to carry what I cannot put down. I lost the person I love most, and you have not once asked me to be over it by now. You are here inside the longing and the missing. You are here in every moment that I reach for them. I lost the person I love most, and somehow you are making sure I am not lost too. He holds the grieving I gave that dream a decade and a half of everything I had. It was not just what I did, it was who I was. My identity was woven through the fibers of its fabric, and I did not know how much until the day it ended. I watched it close, like watching a door close on a version of myself that I had spent years becoming and believing in. And standing on the other side of what I thought I would become, I did not know the person in the room I found myself in. Who am I when the thing that defined me is gone? That is the question no one tells you how to answer. The dream died and I don't know who I am without it. I built myself around the thing that's no longer there. The dream died and I am standing in the after, without a map or a name for where I go from here. I am not the version that I spent so long becoming, and I don't know yet who the next one is supposed to be. The dream died and I need you to remind me that I am more than every dream that I have ever dreamed. I have sat with this long enough to know some things now, that the dreamer is not defined by any single dream, that the identity I gave away to what I was pursuing was never meant to be borrowed from a goal. And God, who put the dream inside me in the beginning, did not evacuate when the dream failed to arrive. He is still the God of what comes after, and the after is the place where He is known to come alive. What died was not my purpose, not my calling. What died was one expression of the person I am becoming. The dream died and I don't know who I am without it. I built myself around the thing that's no longer there. The dream died and I am standing in the after, without a map or a name for where I go from here. I am not the version that I spent so long becoming, and I don't know yet who the next one is supposed to be. The dream died and I need you to remind me that I am more than every dream that I have ever dreamed. In the space where the dream used to live, there is room now for something I could not have carried before. In the silence where the striving used to be, there is a voice I was too busy to have heard. Maybe the death of the dream is the birth of the calling. Maybe the ending of one thing is the opening of another. Maybe who I am without the dream I held so tightly is the person I was always on my way to being. I release the dream I love, I release the version it produced. I open up the space it left and ask you, God, what lives here now? The dream died, but the dream died. dream. More than the loss, more than the after. You are enough. Who I am in you cannot die. I am more than any dream. There are losses that the church does not know how to hold, to fall between the cracks of what we talk about on Sundays. The kind of grief that wears a ring it doesn't wear anymore, and doesn't know what to do with the side of the bed that's empty. I gave that marriage everything I had to give. I believed in what we were becoming, what we'd built, and the ending of it was the ending of a version of myself that I am still in the process of grieving into something new. And I am not ashamed of what I feel. I am just not sure where to take it anymore. The marriage ended, and I didn't know I would too. I thought I'd be okay, and I was not prepared for this. The marriage ended, and the person I had been inside it had to figure out who she was starting over new. I am not the wife, I am not the other half, I am not the future that the two of us had planned. The marriage ended, and so did who I was inside it. And I need you to be the one who helps me find what's next. I know the theology of God's redeeming power. I know that nothing is the end unless He says it is. But knowing and the feelings are two citizens of different countries. And right now the feeling is the one that has the floor. And what I need is not a scripture said too quickly, or reassurance that does not have room for grief. What I need is just the space to be exactly where I am, and a God who will not rush me past the process of the loss. And He does not rush the grieving to its graduation. He sits inside the valley for as long as it requires. The marriage ended, and I didn't know I would too. I thought I'd be okay, and I was not prepared for this. The marriage ended, and the person I had been inside it had to figure out who she was starting over new. I am not the wife, I am not the other half, I am not the future that the two of us had planned. The marriage ended, and so did who I was inside it. But God is building someone I have not yet met in me. I am allowed to grieve what this was meant to be. I am allowed to mourn the future that I pictured. I am allowed the time to figure out the pieces of an identity that living alone requires. And in the after, in the single, in the starting over, in the silence of the house, and the reclaiming of the space, there is a version of myself I have not fully met yet, that is being formed in what I lost and what I face. She is not less than what she was inside the marriage. She is not defined by what the ending cost her. She is the woman that the valley is producing, and she will be something the world has never seen. chapter is already being written by His hand. Still here, still His, still becoming, still here. The story is not over, still here. Deeper now than before the doubt. Deeper now, the faith came back. I will say the thing that people in the church don't say out loud, that there was a season when I could not find my faith. Not a dip, not a doubt, but an actual disappearing, where the God I'd always known went somewhere I could not trace. I still showed up because I didn't know what else to do. I sang the words but could not make them land inside my chest. I went through every emotion I had memorized for decades, and hoped that one day it would mean something again. And I was terrified that this was my conclusion, that the faith I'd had would not be coming back. I lost my faith for a season, and I thought that losing it meant it was gone for good. I lost my faith for a season in the silence where the certainty had been was loud. But somewhere in the wandering, in the honest, in the waiting, something began to grow that was not there before. I lost my faith for a season and found it deeper on the other side of doubt. The faith I found again was not the one I'd lost. It was heavier and quieter and harder to explain. It did not need the feeling to be functioning inside it. It had roots that went to places feeling cannot reach. And I am grateful for the season that I cannot recommend, for the darkness that felt punishing and wrong, because the faith that I rebuilt on the other side of losing is the faith that I believe will hold for all the long. Not the faith that needed everything to make sense, but the faith that stays when nothing makes sense anymore. I lost my faith for a season, and I thought that losing it meant it was gone for good. I lost my faith for a season in the silence where the certainty had been was loud. But somewhere in the wandering, in the honest, in the waiting, something began to grow that was not there before. I lost my faith for a season and found it deeper on the other side of doubt. If you are in the season of the losing right now, if the faith that used to come so easy is not coming, if you're going through the motions hoping something catches, I need you to hear this and I need you to believe it. You are not disqualified, you are not abandoned, you are not the only one who has been exactly here. And the faith that comes back after the honest doubting is the most unshakable faith you will ever carry. Stay in the room even when the room feels empty. Keep showing up even when the showing up feels hollow, because on the other side of the season of the losing is a version of the faith that nothing takes away. I lost my faith for a season, and I live to tell about it. I wandered in the silence, and I made it through. I lost my faith for a season, and the losing was the making of the faith I never had before I lost the first. I am grateful for the thing I cannot recommend to anyone, for the dark that built the roots that now go deep. I lost my faith for a season, and what I found was worth the finding, worth the losing, worth it all. Deeper now than before the doubt. Deeper now, the faith came back. Deeper now, worth the losing. Deeper now, it holds. Deeper now. I will not dress this question up in softer clothes today. I will ask it the way I actually asked it, in the dark. God, where were you the night the worst thing happened? Because from where I stood, the sky was empty and the room was cold. I looked for you in everything that followed after, in the face of every person who came to help me through. And I could not find the evidence of presence. In the rubble of the night I needed you. I asked the question honest, and I needed an honest answer. Not a sermon, not a platitude, just truth. God, where were you when I needed you most? That is the question I have been afraid to ask out loud. God, where were you in the moment of the losing? Because I called and called and could not find you in the crowd. I am not walking away, I am standing here and asking, because the asking is the only honest thing I have. God, where were you when I needed you most? And I need you to be big enough to handle this. And in the asking, something started happening inside me. Not a lightning bolt, not a voice above the clouds, but a quiet and a knowing that came underneath the question, that he had been there in the ways I'd not yet found. He was in the person who showed up without being called. He was in the breath that kept me going through the night. He was in the smallest mercy I had overlooked, in looking for the miracle-sized proof I thought would satisfy. He was there in ways that grief had hidden from my seeing, and the asking opened up the eyes that pain had closed. God, you were there when I thought you had left me, in the places I had not been looking yet. You were there in everything the grief had covered over, and the asking was the way I finally found still here, and I still believe. He was in the strength I should not have had. He was in the morning that I should not have made it to. He was in the peace that passed the understanding, in the thing I can't explain about the worst night I came through. He was in the songs of those who asked before me, in the lament of the ones who cried out to an empty sky, and found that the sky was never empty, only silent, and the silence was a presence they had not learned to recognize. I asked the question and I'm glad I asked it, because the asking took me somewhere I could not have gone around. God was there inside the night I thought he'd left me, and I would not have seen it if I hadn't asked out loud. God, you were there when I needed you most, hidden in the mercy I was too wrecked to recognize. You were there in ways that I could not have seen while breaking, but I see it now, and I am overwhelmed by what I find. You were not absent, you were present, in the hidden, in the kindness and the breath and the surviving. God, you were there when I needed you most, and asking brought me to the proof that you have always been. He was there, he was there, in the dark, he was there, in the losing, he was there, he was always there. I put everything I had into the building of that thing, the years, the savings, the belief, the sacrifice. I believed in it enough to put my name upon it publicly, and watched it not become the thing I thought it would become. The closing was not quiet and it was not clean. There were people and there were debts and there were questions, and the hardest part was separating who I am from what the failure of the thing said about me. Because the world conflates the person and the outcome, but God has never seen me through the lens of what I built. The business failed, but I am not a failure. The outcome does not define the one who tried. The business failed, and the losing was a teacher that taught me things the winning never could provide. I am not the sum of every venture that came undone. I am not identified by what did not survive. The business failed, but I am not a failure. I am the one who gets back up and builds again. I have found the company of those who failed and rose, who lost the first thing and built something better after, who wore the bankruptcy or the closing or the collapse and came out on the other side with wisdom that's irreplaceable. And I am joining the long lineage of those who fell and stood and fell and stood, and finally found that the falling was not the opposite of the succeeding, but the education that made the succeeding possible. The failure is not my identity or my ending. The failure is the chapter before the breakthrough. The business failed, but I am not a failure. The outcome does not define the one who tried. The business failed, and the losing was a teacher that taught me things the winning never could provide. I am not the sum of every venture that came undone. I am not identified by what did not survive. The business failed, but I am not a failure. I am the one who gets back up and builds again. I separate my worth from the result. I separate my name from what did not succeed. I separate the person from the outcome, and I understanding that the failure gave, and what the failure tried to use to define me, I am using it as fuel for what comes next. The business failed, and I have learned to bless the falling, because the falling took me somewhere I could not have walked into standing. The business failed, and I discovered I am separate from the thing that had my name but is not who I am. I am not the venture, and I am not the close. I am not what succeeded or what did not survive. The business failed, but I am not a failure. I am the one God eclipsed her eyes and build again. Not a failure, never was, never was. The loss does not define the person. Not a failure, built by God, and He builds things that last. I have walked through what I thought was irreversible, through the ruin of the things I thought would never fall, and in the places where the damage looked the most complete, I found a God already working in the walls. He does not wait until the clearing of the rubble to begin the work of building what comes next. He lays the new foundation underneath the broken, and works in ways invisible to human sight. Even in the ruins, there is a blueprint. Even in the wreckage, there are hands at work. Even in the ruins, He is building. Even in the ashes, there is something being made. Even in the silence of the total devastation, He is laying a foundation that will never move or fade. Even in the ruins, He is working. In the places where the damage looks complete, even in the ruins, He is building. And what He built from ruins will withstand eternity. Nehemiah walked among the walls that had been burned, and what he saw was not the ending but the plan. He gathered what was broken and he built again with purpose, and the walls that rose from ruin were the strongest walls they'd had. And I have walked among the ruins of my own life. I felt the weight of what has fallen and what's gone, and I have heard the voice of God inside the devastation, saying this is not the ending, this is where we build from now. The God of the rebuilding speaks into the ruins and calls the desolate places to be fruitful once again. Even in the ruins, He's building. Even in the ashes, there is something being made. Even in the silence of the total devastation, He is laying a foundation that will never move or fade. Even in the ruins, He's working. In the places where the damage looks complete, even in the ruins, He is building. And what He built from ruins will withstand eternity. They shall rebuild the ancient ruins. They shall raise up the former devastations. The desolate places shall be restored. That is the language of the God who builds from law. He specializes in the ruins. He finds His greatest raw material there. The stone the builders threw away becomes the cornerstone of everything that rises from the ruin of despair. I believe He is building in my ruins. I believe the blueprint was already drawn. I believe the devastation had a destination that only becomes visible when everything is gone. Even in the ruins, He is building. He is building even now, even here, even in the ruin, even in the ruin. He has been building all along. Even in the ashes, he was making something rare. Even in the silence of the thing that looked most finished, he was laying every stone of what will stand beyond repair. Even in the ruins where I thought there was no future, he saw the city that would rise from where I fell. Even in the ruins, he was building, and what he built from my ruins I have lived to tell. From the ruins, he builds. From the ashes, he raises. Even now, he is building. Even here, he built. Even in the even in the even in the he built. The night I lost everything, I did not see it coming. Or maybe I had seen it coming and looked away. And when it came with all the force of what had gathered. And I was in the debris before I understood what happened. I sat inside the wreckage of the night for longer than I'll say, and took a full accounting of the losses in the dark. And everything I counted up confirmed the devastation, that what had been was gone, and I did not know where to start. And then something happened that I did not ask for. Something came into the room that I cannot explain. The night I lost everything was the night God found me. Not a coincidence, a collision that was always meant to be. The night I lost everything was the night he showed up fully, in the emptied out and hollow place where I had ceased to be. I was too full before to feel the weight of his arriving, too busy with the having to perceive the one who gave. The night was the night God found me, and losing everything became the greatest gift I have. I would not have chosen this path to get to where I am. I would not have recommended what it cost to find him here. But I would not trade the finding for the version of my life before I had everything I wanted and could not feel him near. There is a poverty of spirit that the scripture calls most blessed. The state of having nothing is the state of having space. And the God who fills the empty and the open and the hollow met me in the nothing with the fullness of his grace. I did not know that loss could be the doorway to the finding. Did not know that empty was the fullest I had ever been. The night I lost everything was the night God found me. Not a coincidence, a collision that was always meant to be. The night I lost everything was the night he showed up fully, in the emptied out have. Empty is not what it looks like from the outside. Empty in the kingdom is the space where God moves in. Empty is the prerequisite for filling, and losing everything was just the emptying begin. I did not lose what I could not afford to lose. I lost what was between me and the thing I could not see. And the night that devastated me from the outside was the night that liberated me from the inside. Finally, this is not a testimony I give lightly. This is the most honest thing I have ever said. I would not trade the losing for the finding, and the finding was worth everything I thought I'd lost. The night I lost everything became the night he found me, and I have spent the time since then becoming who he saw. The night I lost everything, he was already in the losing, already in the space my life was clearing out for him. I was too full before, and now I am too grateful to wish away the night that made the finding possible. The night I lost everything was the night God found me, and I would not have found him any other way.